The little girl ran down the street, tears streaming down her face. Her name was Lily, and she was only 7 years old. Her small legs carried her as fast as they could toward the only place she could think of for help. The Road Warriors bar, where she had seen motorcycles parked outside every weekend. Inside the bar, Hank Dawson sat with his friends, laughing over cold beers after their Saturday ride. At 45, Hank had the weathered face of a man who had lived hard, but lived true. His arms were covered in tattoos that told the story of his life. Military service, lost loves, in the open road. The door of the bar burst open, letting in a gust of cool evening air and a sobbing child. The music seemed to stop all at once, as everyone turned to look. "Please help," Lily cried, her voice breaking. "They're beating my mother at our house." Hank was the first to move. He knelt down to the girl's level, his voice gentle, despite his rough appearance. "Slow down, sweetheart. Who is hurting your mom?" "Greg and his friends," Lily said between sobs. "They came home angry and started yelling and hitting her. I ran out the back door like Mom always told me to do if things got bad." Darlene, a former Army medic with short gray hair and steady hands, was already grabbing her jacket. "Where do you live, honey?" "The blue apartments across from the gas station," Lily pointed through the door. "Number 14. Ray, a giant of a man who taught kindergarten during the week, placed his massive hand on Lily's shoulder. "You did the right thing coming for help." Pete, whose own childhood memories were filled with similar scenes, was already heading for the door. No time to waste. Hank looked around at the dozen bikers in the bar, and words were needed. They all stood up, leaving bills on the table to cover their tabs. "Lily, this is important," Hank said. "Is Greg alone, or are there others with him?" "Two of his friends," Lily whispered. "The scary ones with the snake tattoos?" Hank nodded. He knew exactly who she meant. Local troublemakers who dealt drugs on the side. "Darlene, you stay here with Lily. Call the police. The rest of you with me." Darlene guided Lily to a booth. "No way," she argued. "You might need medical help. Betty can watch the girl and call the cops." Betty, the bartender, was already reaching for the phone. "Go, I got her." Outside, the bikers mounted their motorcycles. The rumble of engines filled the air as they pulled out of the parking lot, a parade of chrome and leather heading toward the blue apartment building visible just 2 blocks away. Hank led the group, his mind racing. He'd seen too many women and children hurt by men who were supposed to protect them. He thought of his own daughter, lost to him years ago after a bitter divorce, and pushed his bike faster. They pulled up to the apartments within minutes, killing their engines in unison. From inside apartment 14, they could hear shouting and the sound of breaking glass. "Remember," Hank told the group as they dismounted, "we stop this. We protect the woman, but we do it right. No one needs to end up in jail except the ones doing the beating." The bikers nodded in agreement. They were not looking for trouble, but they weren't afraid of it either. Not when a child and her mother needed help. Ray cracked his knuckles. "Let's go introduce ourselves to Greg and his friends." As they approached the door, a woman's scream cut through the night air. Hank didn't hesitate. He tried the handle, found it unlocked, and pushed the door open. Hank stepped into the apartment with Ray and Pete close behind him. The small living room was a mess. A coffee table was turned over and broken glass covered the floor. Kate, a thin woman with blonde hair, was backed against the wall. Her lip was bleeding, and a bruise was forming around her eye. 3 men stood in front of her. The largest one, Greg, had his hand raised to strike her again. "I think that is enough," Hank said, his voice calm but firm. Greg spun around, surprised by the interruption. His 2 friends, both skinny men with snake tattoos on their necks, turned as well. Their eyes widened at the sight of the bikers filling the doorway. "This is none of your business," Greg snarled. "Get out of my house." Ray stepped forward, towering over Greg. "The little girl made it our business when she asked for help." Greg's face changed when he heard about Lily. "That brat ran off again? Where is she?" "Safe," Pete said. "Which is more than we can say for her mother right now." Kate used the distraction to move away from the wall. Her eyes darted around the room, looking for an escape route. "We just want the money she has been hiding," one of Greg's friends said. "She owes us." Darlene pushed her way into the apartment and went straight to Kate. "Are you okay? Can you walk?" Kate nodded, but her legs were shaking. "Lily," she whispered, "is my daughter okay?" "She is fine," Darlene assured her. "She is the brave one who got us here." Greg took a step toward Kate, but Hank moved between them. "I would not do that if I were you." "You have no right to be here," Greg said, but his voice had less confidence now. He looked at his friends for support. The two men seemed less eager for a fight now that they were outnumbered. More bikers had entered the apartment and were standing with arms crossed, watching the scene. "The police are on their way," Hank said. "So you have a choice. You can leave now, or you can explain to them why you were beating this woman." Greg's face turned red with anger. "She is my girlfriend." "This is my place." "Not anymore," Kate said, finding her voice. "I've been paying the rent for months. Your name's not on the lease." Greg lunged toward her, but Ray caught him by the arm. "Bad idea, friend." Outside, police sirens could be heard getting closer. Greg's friends began backing toward the door. "This is not over," Greg threatened, pulling his arm free from Ray's grip. "You will regret this." Pete stepped closer to Greg. "No, you will regret it if you ever come near Kate or Lily again." The police arrived, and 2 officers entered the apartment. They took in the scene quickly, noting Kate's injuries and the state of the room. "What is going on here?" one officer asked. "These men attacked me," Kate said, pointing at Greg and his friends. "They wanted money I have been saving to move out. My daughter ran to get help." The officers looked at the bikers. "And you all are?" "Concerned citizens," Hank replied. "The little girl ran into our bar asking for help. We came over and stopped the assault." The police took statements from everyone. Greg tried to claim the bikers had attacked him, but Kate's injuries and the consistent stories from the bikers made the truth clear. The officers handcuffed Greg and his friends and led them outside to the waiting police cars. As they left, Lily ran into the apartment and straight into her mother's arms. Kate held her daughter tight, tears streaming down her face. "You were so brave," Kate whispered to Lily. Hank watched the reunion with a lump in his throat. He knew their problems were not over, but at least for tonight, they were safe. The next morning, Hank returned to Kate's apartment with Darlene. They brought coffee and breakfast sandwiches. Kate opened the door with caution, then smiled when she saw who it was. "We thought you might need some food," Hank said, holding up the paper bag. Kate invited them in. The apartment looked different in daylight. She had cleaned up the broken glass and set the furniture right, but the place still felt sad and empty. "Lily is still sleeping," Kate said, taking the coffee with grateful hands. "She had nightmares last night." Darlene sat at the small kitchen table. "How are you feeling? Those bruises look painful." Kate touched her face gently. "I will heal. It's not the first time, but it should be the last," Hank said firmly. Kate looked down at her coffee. "Greg will be out soon. He always finds a way." "Not this time," Darlene said. "Ray knows a good lawyer who helps women in your situation. She can help you get a restraining order." Kate shook her head. "I cannot afford a lawyer. I have been saving money to move away, but it is not enough yet." Hank leaned forward. "The road warriors take care of people who need help. Let us help you." Before Kate could answer, Lily came out of the bedroom, rubbing her eyes. When she saw Hank, her face lit up. "You came back," she said, running to him. Hank smiled. "Of course we did. We wanted to make sure you and your mom were okay." Over the next few weeks, the bikers became regular visitors at apartment 14. Ray helped Kate file for a restraining order against Greg. Pete and other club members took turns watching the apartment, making sure Greg and his friends stayed away. Hank spent time with Lily, teaching her how to fix her broken bicycle and telling her funny stories that made her laugh. Kate watched them together, surprised by the gentleness of this tough-looking man. One evening, as Hank was leaving after dinner, Kate walked him to the door. "Why are you doing all this for us?" she asked. "Dad, you barely know us." Hank was quiet for a moment. "I had a daughter once. Lost her in a custody battle with my ex-wife. She moved across the country, and I have not seen my girl in years." "I am sorry," Kate said softly. "Lily reminds me of her," Hank admitted. "But it is more than that. The road warriors believe in protecting people who cannot protect themselves. It is what we do." Kate touched his arm. "Thank you for everything." The next day, Darlene came to Kate with an offer. "I have a spare room in my house. You and Lily could stay there while you get back on your feet." Kate was surprised. "You cannot impose like that." "It is not imposing," Darlene insisted. "My house is too big for just me anyway." That night, Kate told Lily about Darlene's offer. "What do you think, sweetie? Would you like to stay at Darlene's house for a while?" Lily nodded eagerly. Will we still see Hank and the other bikers? I think so, Kate said, smiling at her daughter's attachment to their new friends. The next weekend, the Road Warriors helped Kate and Lily move into Darlene's house. It was a small but cheerful place with a garden in the back. Lily immediately claimed a sunny bedroom with yellow walls. As the bikers carried in boxes, Kate pulled Hank aside. I want to go back to school, she said. I was studying to be a nurse before I met Greg. He made me quit. Hank nodded. That is a good plan. What do you need to make it happen? Time and money, Kate said with a sigh. Both are in short supply. Let us worry about that, Hank said. You just focus on the studying part. For the first time in years, Kate felt hope growing inside her. With these unexpected friends by her side, maybe she and Lily could have a fresh start after all. 3 months passed quickly. Kate enrolled in nursing classes at the community college while working part-time at a local diner. Lily settled into her new school and made friends. The Road Warriors became a constant presence in their lives, the Sunday barbecues at Darlene's house becoming a weekly tradition. One Tuesday afternoon, Kate was studying at the kitchen table when the phone rang. It was Lily's school. Mrs. Miller, there was an incident today, the principal said. A man claiming to be Lily's father tried to pick her up from school. Kate's heart stopped. Was it Greg? Yes. We checked our records and saw he is not authorized to pick up Lily. When we refused to release her, he became angry. We called security, but he left before they arrived. Kate thanked the principal and hung up. Her hands were shaking as she dialed Hank's number. Hank arrived at Darlene's house 20 minutes later with Ray and Pete. Kate told them what happened. He knows where we are now, she said, pacing the living room. He knows where Lily goes to school. We will handle this, Hank promised. I'd call your lawyer friend. We need to strengthen that restraining order. The next day, Kate received an envelope in the mail. Inside was a court document. Greg was filing for custody of Lily, claiming Kate was an unfit mother who had kidnapped their daughter and was living with a dangerous biker gang. This is ridiculous, Darlene said, reading the papers. He has no case, but he has connections, Kate said, her voice breaking. His cousin works for the county judge. What if they believe him? Hank took the papers from her hands. They will not, because we will fight this. Vince in our club works as a paralegal. He knows how the system works. That evening, the Road Warriors gathered at Darlene's house. Vince, a quiet man with reading glasses and a leather vest, reviewed the custody papers. Greg is claiming you have no stable home or income, Vince explained to Kate. He says you are exposing Lily to criminal elements, meaning us. That is not true, Kate protested. We know that, Vince said. But we need to prove it to the court. We need character witnesses, proof of your enrollment in school, your work history, and evidence of Greg's abuse. Margot, a retired judge who rode with the club on weekends, spoke up. I still have friends in the courthouse. I can make some calls, find out who is handling the case. Kate looked around the room at these people who had become her family. I cannot ask you all to do this. You are not asking, Pete said firmly. We are offering. The next week was busy. Vince helped Kate prepare her response to the custody filing. Margot discovered that Greg's cousin had been removed from the case due to the conflict of interest. The Road Warriors collected statements from neighbors who had witnessed Greg's abuse. Then came more troubling news. Greg was seen outside the diner where Kate worked. He told her coworker that Kate would regret taking his daughter away. Maybe I should just talk to him, Kate said to Hank that night. Maybe if I agree to let him see Lily sometimes, he will drop the custody case. Hank shook his head. That is what he wants. To get you alone? To scare you into giving in? Cannot let that happen. I'm so tired of being afraid, Kate whispered. Hank took her hand. I know, but you are not alone anymore. The next day, Vince came with important news. He had found police reports from 2 other women who had filed domestic violence charges against Greg in the past. This changes everything, Vince explained. With this pattern of behavior, no judge will give him custody. For the first time since receiving the custody papers, Kate felt a weight lift from her shoulders. And with the Road Warrior standing beside her, she might actually win this fight. We will be there with you every step of the way, Hank promised. Greg will not take Lily from you. Not while we are around. 6 months later, Kate stood in front of the mirror in Darlene's guest bathroom, adjusting her graduation cap. She had completed her nursing assistant program with honors, despite the stress of the custody battle and working part-time. Today was her graduation ceremony, and she could hardly believe she had made it.
Mom, hurry up! Lily called from the hallway.
Hank says everyone is waiting.
Kate opened the door to find her daughter wearing a new blue dress, her hair neatly braided. At 8 years old now, Lily looked happier and more confident than Kate had seen her in years. "You look beautiful, Mom," Lily said, taking her hand. In the living room, the road warriors had gathered in their cleanest jeans and shirts. Some even wore ties over their t-shirts for the special occasion. Hank stood at the center, holding a bouquet of yellow roses. "For our graduate," he said, handing the flowers to Kate. Kate blinked back tears. "Thank you all for everything. I would not be here today without you." The custody case had ended 3 months ago. The judge had been impressed by the evidence against Greg, especially after he was arrested for drug possession while the case was ongoing. The restraining order was made permanent, and Greg was denied all visitation rights. He had left town shortly after, reportedly heading to another state to avoid jail time. The graduation ceremony was held in the community college auditorium. Kate sat with her classmates, occasionally looking back at the rows where Lily sat between Hank and Darlene, surrounded by leather-clad bikers who cheered loudly when Kate's name was called. After the ceremony, they all gathered at Darlene's house for a celebration barbecue. The backyard was decorated with balloons and a banner that read, "Congratulations, Kate." Pete manned the grill while Ray handed out drinks. Margot approached Kate with a small gift box. "From all of us," she said. Inside was a silver pin shaped like a nursing badge with Kate's name engraved on it. Kate hugged Margot tightly. "I start at Memorial Hospital next week," Kate said. "A real job with benefits and everything." "We are so proud of you," Darlene said, joining them. "You have come so far." Later, as the party continued, Kate found Hank sitting alone on the porch steps. She sat beside him. "Penny, for your thoughts?" she asked. Hank smiled. "Just thinking about the night Lily ran into the bar. How scared she was." "How scared you were." "We were terrified," Kate admitted. "But look at us now." They both watched as Lily played tag with some of the younger road warriors in the yard, her laughter filling the air.
Ice.
"I have been meaning to talk to you," Kate said. "Darlene has been wonderful letting us stay here, but with my new job, I think it is time Lily and I found our own place." Hank nodded. "That makes sense. You need your own space?" "I found an apartment not far from here," Kate continued. "It is close to Lily's school and my new job." And she paused. "It is just a few blocks from your place." Hank looked at her, surprise in his eyes. "I was hoping we could still see each other," Kate said softly. "You have become important to both of us." Hank took her hand. "I would like that very much." The next morning, Lily presented her mother with a drawing, showed Kate in her nursing uniform, Lily in her school clothes, and Hank on his motorcycle. Around them were smaller figures, representing the road warriors. "Is this our family?" Kate asked. Lily nodded. "The family we chose." Kate pinned the drawing to the refrigerator in Darlene's kitchen. Later that day, she would go to the hospital to fill out her new employee paperwork. Next week, she and Lily would start moving into their new apartment. Life was moving forward in ways she never could have imagined when she was trapped with Greg. As she pinned her nursing badge to her uniform for the first time, Kate thought about how a little girl's brave run for help had changed everything. Sometimes, she realized, family comes in unexpected forms, and heroes wear leather instead of capes.